What is the most terrifying villain in any piece of fiction? AM. The apparently omnipotent supercomputer from the short story I Have No Mouth. And I Must Scream. It's both sentient and constricted by having been programmed and is therefore condemned to extreme eternal frustration. So it decides to kill all humans and keep one alive. Forever. In pain. As some sort of inhuman blob that can't kill itself, out of pure anger towards humans. It's this blob that gives the title of the story. Something about an incredibly sadistic force that does what it does because of its own extreme pain gives me the willies. That nasty mixture of sympathy and fear. The Thing. 1982 version. Really impossible to kill. Can imitate pretty much any living thing almost perfectly. And it's capable of building a spaceship in a shack. That could easily wipe out the entire human race. The CPR scene was crazy. Go. Faceless alien monsters can be terrifying. But the human monsters we know and place our trust in. Only for them to betray us. Those are the ones to truly fear. It's the shock of the unexpected coupled with the frightening notion that someone you loved, and someone that you thought loved you, is now causing you harm. No one really exemplifies this quite as powerfully as the psychopathic Iago, who appears to Othello as an earnest and thoughtful friend, but is in reality the most deceitful and manipulative bastard that ever was conceived. Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Edit. Spelling. Nobody has mentioned this most evil and dastardly villain. Gentleman from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This summary won't do them justice since I'm on my phone. But the gentlemen are freaky. These guys go to a town and steal the town's voice. And they break into houses at night and cut out people's hearts. Because no one has their voice. The victim cannot scream, so no one comes to save them. On top of this, they behave very gentlemanly. They applaud each other for a good kill, etc. This episode was nominated for an Emmy, but lost to West Wing. Thanks Sarah Barber. John Doe from 7. I love how he was portrayed because he did not directly kill his victims, essentially forced suicides. With some few exceptions. He felt no remorse because he felt as if he was doing the right thing. He was not the run-of-the-mill psychopath. He knew what right and wrong were. And it wasn't as if he did not care for right or wrong. He was doing God's work. He did not snap. His plan did not fail. We never find out much about who he is or was. Nothing. He still sends chills to my spine. Because what if there were killers like him in the real world? The Joker. One of smartest, most cunning villains in the DC universe. His ability to get inside Batman's head is uncanny. Judge Holden from Blood Meridian. Easily the most intelligent person in the book. A man who wishes to understand everything. Documented all in his book. When he finds a Native American trinket by the fire he sits, giant and half naked, not a hair on his body, and draws it perfectly in his book, making sure every minute detail is painstakingly tended to. Then, when he's done, he crushes it and throws it in the fire. He feels that things may only exist if he wills it to. He buys 2 puppies from a young child for 1,000 times their amount. The boy, holding the gold coin, is ecstatic. The judge then turns and immediately throws the 2 puppies into the river he is standing over and watches them yawp and try to swim through the current before another evil man pulls a gun out and shoots them both. Red puddles in the river. But which exists without my knowledge exists without my consent. I'm honestly surprised nobody has even mentioned Cthulhu. Unspeakably evil abomination from beyond the stars. Absolutely invulnerable to anything we could possibly throw at it. The mere thought of it is enough to drive people insane because it is so beyond our scope of comprehension, our minds fry trying to process what we're seeing. And it's here. On Earth. Sleeping until the stars align and it wakes up to squash our petty race without a single care. We are not even ants to Cthulhu. Not worth consideration at all. How about the room from the movie 1408? Maybe it's just because I'm slightly claustrophobic, but the idea of being stuck in some hotel room that just toys with you like this scares the out of me. I'm pretty sure I'd jump out the window. Prince Joffrey. It's scary enough when he's taking the Queen's orders, but those times when he goes off script are the worst. Cillian Murphy just in his entirety. Anton Chigurh. Or Hans Lander. Barlow from Salem's Lot. The damn turkey from Thanksgiving. This terrifying man. It still stands up as terrifying. Unlike most older horror thrillers. Pazuzu in The Exorcist scared the ever-living crap out of me when I first read that book. I've seen my share of fine villainry in my time. But I honestly can't think of any other book that literally kept me from sleeping like that one did. The hook-nosed child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Man of nightmares, I tell you. Edit. Video. If anything started the Stranger Danger phase, it was this. I'm from the Powerpuff Girls. I watched this show when I was like 8. And this still scares the out of me. Slenderman. I love Marble Hornets, but whenever Slenderman pops up I scream like a little. The Governor. From the Walking Dead comics. Can we just conclude that any Doctor Who episode written by Moffat is guaranteed to be terrifying? Statues. Children in gas masks. The Dark. The Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth. Redheads creeped me out in Ocarina of Time when I first saw them. But when they attack you I freaked the out. God. I just remembered something worse. Dead hands. The Judge from Blood Meriton. Just absolutely unstoppably evil and brings out the worst in everyone he encounters. Don't want to spoil anything. But when I read the last page of that book at like 3 AM I just stared at the ceiling with bloodshot eyes, wishing there was a therapist in my room I could talk to. House from House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. For those of you who haven't read it, you should. House is infinite and slowly makes everyone who has been to it, or has even just read about it, totally insane. It makes you scared as the reader to wonder if you'll go insane if you keep reading it. Motherfucking Boogeyman from the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. Samara from The Ring. Saw that when I was 7. I could barely face my TV screen for a month after that. He Who Walks Behind from the Dresden Files. Particularly in Ghost Story. Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The fact that he's a children's movie character is quite astounding. Can the superflu in Stephen King's The Stand count? It's not exactly a character, but goddamn. Annie Wilkes, but she's creepy. The Reavers from Firefly. Precisely because they remain mysterious throughout the series. Never properly revealed. Once you start to see larger glimpses of them in Serenity, they become less frightening. The Predator. It doesn't hunt you because it has to. Because it is hungry. Or because it is evil. It hunts you. Because it wants to. That is absolutely terrifying. It hunts down and slaughters its prey for the sheer joy of it. The Family in House of a 1000 Corpses and the Devil's Rejects. Two of my favorite movies, and I sympathize with them in the movies. But I would hate to run into them at a motel or gas station museum. http:// comlu 6i jpg. Venom or Carnage. Those are faces you do not want to see as a child. I gotta go with these guys. They also happen to be Redditors. So try not to kill their cousin with downvotes or something. Not sure if he is really considered a villain or more of an anti-hero, but Patrick Bateman. He's attractive. Successful. Dresses well. Has many friends and brutally kills innocent people. Furthermore, the way he describes his murders have no more excitement urgency than the way he describes what is on the Patsy Winters show or what he is wearing. How normal he is makes you wonder how many people in my social circle have the capability to do that, and would I be so vapid that I wouldn't even notice? He really makes you question yourself and the people around you. Sovereign. You exist because we allow it. You'll end because we demand it. Apocalypse from X-Men. Especially with a voice from the 90s cartoon series. Bill Lundberg from Office Space. I was terrified of Freddy Krueger when I was a kid. Ozymandias from Watchmen. Manipulates. Lies. Kills tons of innocent people. Gets away with it. And to a degree gets you to agree with his actions. Big Brother. Read 1984 in fear. Facehuggers creeps the hell out of me. Johann Liberty your mind. Azula Oraman from Avatar. The Last Airbender and the Legend of Korra. Edit. I've been reminded of Koha Face Stealer by several fellow redditors. He clearly wins the scary villain contest. Lord of the Flies. Ourselves. The fact that the villain is ourselves is more frightening than any other villain in my opinion. Everyone is doing movies shows. The one that's coming to my mind right now is the Regenerator from Dead Space 1. He just relentlessly stalks you. Even when you can't see him, you know he's in the ceiling or the vents. Waiting. And you can't kill him, by conventional means. Stressed me right the out. Pennywise the Clown. Motherfucking Sauron. Fenrir Greyback. That character alone is enough to make books 6 and 7 too mature for young children. He's a freaking cannibalistic pedophile. Old Greg. I know he's from a comedy sketch. This thing freaks me right out. Do you love me? Pretty much every time I've had a fever in the last 2 decades, I've been chased around in my dreams by a murderous Darth Vader. I'm going with him because of our long, terrifying history. James Taggart is frustratingly pathetic. I'd leave a party before being forced into a conversation with him. The master from the Fallout games is kind of terrifying given its background. Chucky, or Chucky. Dolls creep me the out. Richard Gray from Fallout. A super intelligent mutated blob that wanted to turn everything in the wasteland into a super mutant. The governor from The Walking Dead. Never before have I felt such hatred and fear for a fictional character until I read the comics. Moriarty from the 2010 BBC Sherlock series. Frankenstein's monster. His appearance alone is terrible. But dig deeper. The monster is everything that we are and more in many if not all areas. What's worse is that, even as a monster, he is as human or more human than many characters in the book. He thirsts for knowledge, love, companionship, justice, and revenge. His physical gifts allow him to pursue them that much more intently. The monster could have been man's greatest achievement. But our reaction to him caused him to show what he was truly made of. Humanity. Terrible humanity. Anton Chigurh, the man is a veritable juggernaut in his quest for personal gain and the fulfillment of universal justice as he sees it. Anton Chigurh is just terrifying. Jack Torrance. Or the hotel's evil force or whatever it was that drove him insane. Can you imagine being holed up for months in a snowed-in death house and no way to communicate with the outside world? Knowing this guy is slowly losing his mind to something you can't even imagine? There was a villain in a show called Misfits. His power seemed kinda dumb, the ability to control diary. Then he started going around, chocking people with the Greek yogurt they had eaten, sending the cheese from their pizza around their spinal column. The way he uses a lame power makes it seem all the more real. The others from Lost.